Have you ever looked at your grandkids or even your own children and thought, how on earth did we raise them with so little, yet they turned out okay? Back then, we didn't have parenting blogs or gentle parenting seminars. We had common sense, tough love, and maybe the occasional bribe with a cookie. But somehow, they learned to tie their shoes, ride their bikes, and grow into responsible adults. Mostly. Now, whether you're a parent still in the thick of it, helping to raise a grandchild, or simply reflecting on how to support your family in today's fast-paced world, one thing is clear. Raising an independent child is a different ballgame than it used to be. The world has changed. Kids are growing up surrounded by screens, schedules, and a whole lot of noise. And sometimes, it feels like we're doing everything for them just to keep the peace. But here's the thing, helping a child become independent doesn't mean stepping back entirely. It means knowing when to step in and when to step out. It's about guiding them, not carrying them. And yes, it can be frustrating, exhausting, and downright baffling. But it doesn't have to drive you up the wall. Today, we're going to talk about 6 ways to raise an independent child without losing your mind in the process. These are simple shifts, some you may already be doing, others might surprise you, but they all work toward helping a child grow into someone confident, capable, and ready to face the world. Let's start with something small, but powerful, letting them struggle just a little bit. I know. It's not easy to watch a child fumble with their shoelaces or wrestle with math homework that makes you scratch your head. But here's the truth, a little frustration is good for them. Struggle builds problem-solving skills. It builds confidence. And it teaches them that they don't need to be rescued every time something feels hard. Think back, remember when you had to learn how to ride a bike without training wheels? There were scraped knees, maybe a few tears, but also that incredible moment when you realized, I'm doing it. That pride didn't come from someone else holding the seat forever. It came from the fall, the wobble, and finally, the balance. So next time your grandchild says, I can't do it, don't jump in right away. Pause. Encourage them to try one more time. And if they still can't figure it out, sit beside them, not in front of them. Help with, not for. That small change makes a big difference. Now, this brings us to the second point, stop doing things they can do for themselves. This one might hit close to home, especially if you've ever said, it's just faster if I do it. Trust me, we've all been there. But every time we zip their coat, pack their bag, or pour their juice when they're perfectly capable, we send an unspoken message, you're not ready. But what if they are? Sure, it might take longer for a 5-year-old to button their shirt. And yes, you might end up with mismatched socks or spilled milk. But the long-term benefit is worth the short-term mess. Because what we're really doing is giving them a sense of ownership. We're saying, I trust you to handle this. Even better? You're giving yourself a break. Think about that. Less hovering, less fussing, and more time to actually enjoy being with them instead of managing every moment. That's a gift for both of you. It starts small. Let them choose their clothes, even if it's polka dots and stripes. Let them carry their plate to the sink, even if they spill a few peas. Let them tie their shoes, even if it takes 10 minutes and you're already late. You're planting seeds of independence that will grow with every messy attempt. And here's a little trick that helps, ask questions instead of giving orders. Instead of saying, put your shoes on, try, what do we need before we go outside? That simple shift puts the responsibility back in their hands, and you'll be surprised how often they step up when given the chance. These small acts build confidence from the inside out. And more importantly, they remind us, raising an independent child isn't about perfect kids or perfect parents. It's about learning together. It's about being patient with the process, even when it's frustrating. Especially when it's frustrating. Because when you take that step back, just enough to let them figure it out, you'll start to see something amazing. They'll rise to the occasion. Maybe not right away. Maybe not without a little grumbling. But they will. And when they do, you'll be there, not to do it for them, but to cheer them on. Now that we've talked about letting them struggle a bit and stepping back when they can step up, let's take a look at another powerful, often overlooked approach that can help raise independence in a way that feels less like a battle and more like a conversation. Because when we treat it like a conversation, not a command center, something really special happens. They start listening differently. That's where the next shift comes in. Give them choices, not ultimatums. This one's a game changer, especially if you're dealing with a strong-willed little one, or even a teenager who thinks they've got it all figured out. Instead of telling them exactly what to do, offer two acceptable choices. You still stay in control, but they get to feel like they have a say. And that feeling? It matters a lot more than most people realize. Let's say you're trying to get your grandson dressed in the morning. You could say, "Put your clothes on now, or we're going to be late," but that often ends with a meltdown or a very slow-moving child who's testing your patience. Instead, try this. Would you like to wear the blue shirt or the green one today? Either option is fine with you, and they still get to feel like they made the decision. It sounds simple, but it builds a habit of decision-making. And decision-making is one of the cornerstones of independence. When kids feel like they have some control over their lives, whether it's what to wear, what snack to eat, or which book to read, they're more likely to cooperate and more likely to take responsibility for the outcome. This doesn't mean handing over the keys to everything, of course. You're still setting boundaries. You're just inviting them into the process instead of pushing them through it. And that little change can take a whole lot of pressure off both of you. Speaking of boundaries, let's talk about something that might feel a little uncomfortable at first, especially for those of us who grew up in households where, "because I said so," was the standard explanation. It's this: let them fail sometimes. Now, I don't mean letting them fall flat on their faces when you could have prevented it. I'm not talking about dangerous or harmful situations. I'm talking about the small, everyday lessons, the kind that don't hurt anyone but teach a whole lot. Say your granddaughter insists she doesn't need her jacket, even though it's chilly outside. You know she'll probably be cold in about 5 minutes. It's tempting to insist. But sometimes, the best thing you can do is pack the jacket in your bag, say nothing, and let her feel the chill for herself. When she turns to you, shivering and asking for it, you're not scolding. You're not saying, "I told you so." You're just handing her the jacket and letting the experience do the teaching. That's what sticks. That's what builds real-world wisdom. These moments, small as they may seem, are where independence is born. Because they learn that actions have consequences. That their choices matter. That it's okay to mess up, and even more important, it's okay to try again. Now, I get it. Watching someone you love stumble, even in the smallest way, can tug at your heart. We want to protect our kids and grandkids from discomfort, from disappointment. But the truth is, life won't always do that for them. And one of the greatest gifts we can give is the chance to practice resilience while they're still young, with you there to guide them through it. And this brings us to something a lot of people don't talk about when they talk about raising independent kids: modeling your own independence. Kids are always watching, even when we think they're not. And if they see you solving problems, managing your emotions, making decisions, even when it's hard, they'll begin to internalize those habits. It's not about being perfect. It's about being real. Let them see you figure out how to fix a leaky faucet, or write a grocery list, or navigate a tough conversation with grace. Let them hear you say things like, "That didn't go how I planned, but I'm going to try again." Or, "I wasn't sure what to do, so I asked for help." That's powerful. That's real-life learning, and it doesn't need a classroom. Think about how much your children and grandchildren have learned just by being around you. Whether it's how to cook a family recipe, how to treat people with kindness, or how to keep going even when life throws you a curveball, they've absorbed it, often without either of you even realizing. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to show them that it's okay to keep learning. That being independent doesn't mean being alone. It means knowing how to take care of yourself, and also knowing when it's okay to lean on others. And honestly, that's something we can all relate to, no matter how old we are. So whether you're helping to raise a toddler, a teenager, or simply supporting your adult children as they raise kids of their own, remember, This is a journey. For them and for you. There's no single right way, no magic trick that makes it all click overnight. But little by little, with patience and trust, independence grows. And when it does, when you see that child stand a little taller, speak a little more confidently, solve a problem on their own without running to you, that feeling, it's everything. That feeling of watching them grow into themselves is one of life's quiet rewards. And it's often built in the smallest, most ordinary moments, like the one we're going to talk about next, encouraging problem solving instead of providing quick fixes. It's easy to want to jump in with the answer, especially when you already know the answer. When you see your grandchild struggling to build a block tower that keeps tipping over, or trying to open something they're convinced is stuck forever, your instinct might be to say, "Here, let me do it." But what if, instead, you sat beside them and asked, "What do you think we could try next?" That little question plants a seed. It turns a moment of frustration into a moment of curiosity. And it tells the child, "I believe you can figure this out." It might take longer. It might be a bit messier. But problem solving isn't about doing things fast. It's about learning to think things through. And that's something every independent person needs, whether they're 5 or 55. Sometimes, the solution won't come right away. Sometimes, they'll try something and it won't work. But here's where you shine. You stay calm. You stay present. You help guide them without handing them the solution. And when they do figure it out, their face lights up like they just won a gold medal. That moment, where they connect effort with success, that's the gold. That's what sticks. And that's what helps them trust themselves the next time a challenge comes around. And here's the final piece I want to leave you with, perhaps the most powerful of all: celebrate progress, not perfection. We live in a world where kids are constantly being measured by grades, by sports scores, by test results, even by how many likes they get on a post. It can feel overwhelming, even for adults. That's why it's so important that we, as their safe place, their cheerleaders, remember to honor the trying, not just the winning. When a child puts effort into something, whether it's learning to read, helping with chores, or showing kindness to a friend, notice it. Say something like, "I saw how hard you worked on that puzzle." That kind of focus is impressive. Or, "I noticed you cleaned up without being asked." That shows real responsibility. These small acknowledgments go deeper than we think. They reinforce that their value isn't in being perfect, it's in showing up, trying, learning, and growing. That's what real independence looks like. It's not about getting everything right. It's about learning how to keep going, even when things don't go as planned. And yes, there will still be days when you feel like you're repeating yourself for the 100th time. When independence feels miles away, and all you really want is a quiet cup of coffee without stepping on toys or hearing, "Can you help me?" for the 3rd time in 5 minutes. But on those days, remind yourself, this work you're doing, whether you're a parent, a grandparent, a guardian, or simply someone who cares deeply about a child, this work matters. You're not just teaching life skills. You're helping shape a young person's sense of self, their confidence, their courage. And the best part? You don't need to be perfect at it. You just need to show up with love, with patience, and with a willingness to let go, just enough for them to step forward. Letting a child grow into their independence doesn't mean stepping back entirely. It means walking beside them, offering support without control, guidance without pressure, and always, always love without conditions. So, if no one's told you this lately, what you're doing is enough. In fact, it's more than enough. You're planting seeds that will grow for years to come. You're helping raise someone who knows how to try, how to think, how to care, and how to carry themselves in a world that won't always make it easy. That's something to be proud of. Before we go, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What strategies have helped you raise independent kids or grandkids? Did something we talked about today resonate with you? Drop a comment below and share your experience. You never know who you might inspire. And if you found this video helpful or comforting in any way, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It lets us know to keep making more content just like this. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos filled with down-to-earth advice, stories, and encouragement for living well at every age. Thank you for spending a few minutes with me today. I hope you're walking away feeling a little more confident, a little more at ease, and maybe even a little more excited about the role you play in shaping the next generation. Here's to raising strong, capable, kind humans, and doing it without losing your mind in the process. Because yes, it can be done. And you, my friend, are doing beautifully. Take care of yourself, be gentle with your heart, and remember, you've got this.